Hello friends, greetings. This is Dr. S.M. Azad, JNU alumnus. I am teaching, training and mentoring to the civil services parents over 15 years. Today I appeared before you on the platform of Dikshant. The major reason and purpose regarding that one, it created a sense of panic among the students that the pattern of examination has been changed. So I want to make the clarification. It is not at all, no would say that the change of pattern, it is slightly modification. And that is the reason why I have considered the way back 2, 3, 4 years of the question papers, comparative analysis, comparative, you can say, comparative way to make the things to understand about the sensibility regarding this one, that it is not exactly the change of pattern, it is slight modification. And what is the directives given of the UPSC? If you go through that one that has been given, that this examination is basically, it is a critical milestone for the aspirant of the civil services, that their knowledge, point number one, their knowledge, their aptitude and their analytical skills. This is the basic requirement of what this is the guidelines given by UPSC. Now come to the point, eliminating your doubt, confusion regarding this one. I have considered before and after, means before 2023, what were the patterns of examination, as it is normal, you can say, saying normal, what we can say in other word, that it is a normal sense of thinking of the people or the aspirants, those fight in this examination, appear in this examination, because it is a matter of great panic. The reasons behind that, they are relentlessly doing their preparation, leaving their house, living their trend of pattern, they're leading their habit of study and all sort of things. So this became one of the challenging part of that. And in this challenging part of regular studies, if a slight dent come up, a slight, what we can say, distraction come up, that they lose their confidence in the examination hall, watching, seeing the question. So this should not happen. And in future, you have to be ready for that too. That is the reason why I appeared before you. So come to the main point, the analysis, the comparative analysis, whether the pattern has been changed, point number one. Second thing, point number two, that whether the modification has been done. Point number three, the twist and turn. This is the habit of, this is the tendency of UPSC. UPSC always acquired with the tendency of what? It is, you can say, perennial. It is what we can say inherent character of UPSC. Always it plays with the words, it plays with the sentences, it plays with the twist and turn. So you should have to be alert in future. That is the reason why I stand before you. So before means, if you talk about that, it is a matter of 2020. If you consider about that, it is what? It is the question of 2020. Before, and I am going to compare it what it is after. Means 2023, the recent examination which is held over here. So I am considering all the four patterns. You should have to keep in your mind what is that, the normal trend of the examination, which is designed and developed. It is normally used to follow under the four patterns. And the four pattern is what? The first one pattern is what? Trend is what? It is MCQs pattern. In this MCQ patterns, questions are given there, and you have to be given four options, and you have to tick it out. This is the most common feature of this part. The second tradition, which is practiced since long time, is that is statement based. Normally it used to happen, the four statements or three statements used to provided before that, and according to the code you have to select A, B, C, or you can say D. You have to select one. So these were the tendency of the second pattern, and the third one, the pattern which could be said like that, to matching, and sometimes the matching based on the column A with column B. And apart from this column, again the code is given to that A is correct, A, then B, what we can say, A, then B, then C, then D. And same way the statement is like that A is correct, B is correct, like this. Four things are also there. So this is the third pattern of matching of column. I am going to in a very brief way without wasting of time, because I will show with the example. And another thing, that ups and down, or you can say that is not the frequent part of that. This is based on the ideas of what? Assertion, and another one is what? Reason. These were the normal practices since the time of 2013-12 onward, or you can say 13-14 onward. And one of the question has appeared in this way is a long reading comprehension type. A long statement were given over the once or twice or thrice this question was appeared, and you have to go through four options. And you have to select one. So these were the normal practices of the UPSC, what we can say the tradition, what we can say the trend. So in this way, what changes has been taken place? What we should have to keep in your mind, what changes has been taken place in this regard? What changes has been taken place in this regard? We have to analyze that part of that. What changes has been taken place? So considering this part of that, so in 2020, please, you have to be alert regarding the statement which is going to ask to you. So one thing is that, with the reference to the religious history of India, consider the following statements. The term is what? A statement. And another important critical thing you have to understand, which of the statements is given above are correct. So these are the two things you have to read out very, very eagerly and very seriously, so that you can decode. Asthavirvadins belong to Mahayana Buddhism. Then Lokayat is also known as sect, was an offshoot of Mahasangika sect of Buddhism. Then the deification of Buddha was Mahasangikas fostered the Mahayana Buddhism, and which of the given statement is what we can say correct? This is the question. It is coming before you. So what you notice over here, what is the criticality regarding that? The statement which is given to you, because this statement has created a lot of panics among you. So in this connection, what we find that B is the correct answer. It means 2 and 3, you have given leverage, you have given advantage of selecting out of 3, and the 2 statements are correct. So it is quite easy to decode that, and searching the answer, what should be the correct answer. So this is one of the basic thing which was happened to the tradition of, you can say, 2020. Now come to the conditions regarding after the recently the 2020-23, and it created a lot of panic, and it is a hue and cry in the market that the pattern has been changed. So I could say that it is not absolutely changed. A twist and turn, a slight modification has been taken place, because this is the age of information technology. Your thinking process has also been faster. Your thinking process, because you have a lot of knowledge, and due to lot of knowledge, your understanding skill should be also on that way. So reduction of time. So you have to thought it out, you have to plan it out in a quicker time. So now read it out. With the reference to the ancient India, consider the following statement. Consider the following statement. This is one thing. And how many of the statement? What is the trick of that? How many of the statements given above are correct? This was the sheer confusion created among the students. Why? Because you did not read it out properly. Earlier you have indulged in the habit of what? In the habit of which of the statement given below are correct. Normally you have been in the habit of dealing with this kind of 1, 2 option, 2, 3 option, 1, 2, 3 option. And here is what changes. It is not, we can say, it is twist and turn. It is what? Only one. Another one is what? It is only two. Then another one, all the three and none. And you got confused over there. So it is not a matter to be dislodge you. It is not a matter to be, you can say, overpower you, because you are going to face UPSC, and UPSC tradition and UPSC main objective is what? Your knowledge should be there. The second thing is that your aptitude should be there. Third thing is what? What is that? Your analytical skill. This is a matter of understanding, not at all analytical skill. So you confuse with such kind of a statement. That is the reason why some of them confused regarding that, and someone got panicked. This should not happen. Okay, I think this must be clear to you. So what tradition, what thing has been happened in this time of 2020? Only the part of knowledge, only the part of, you can say, jargon, or you can say vocab is another part of that. So this way you could solve it easily. I think this must have eliminated the doubt of that. And step by step, I have considered all the four patterns. So in this example, or in this before and after, I have considered the question of 2020-21, and here is what? 2020-23. So this created a lot of confusion because you did not pay attention for what? Not pay attention for the statement of the question. That is the major condition of confusing. So now read it out again. It is the pattern of what? What is that? It is column A, match the column A and match the column B. It is what? Column matching basis. And the early pattern, it was what? Historical places and well known for. So it is clear-cut message given to you. The question which is going to ask to you from that, it is historical sites, it is historical places, and another is that why it is known as. So it is quite obvious. It was quite easy thing part of that. And you can say, if you could manage to understand about the factual thing, you could answer it clearly, or you can see easily. Then another 𝐒𝐓𝐃𝐍𝐓, this is the what? You know it very well, the place at Kashmir, and then rock cut shrine. Then 𝐶𝐁𝐁𝐴, what is that? Terracotta is there. Then Gyaneshwar, it is a copper artifact. One thing, please note it down. What are the major problems erupted in this kind of examination? You guys, you aspirants, seriously not containing the jargon, the usage, the words and terminology, because many more candidates did not decode that word and meaning part of that. So that is one of the shortcomings what I noticed in my over 15 or 20 years of experience in this regard. What is that? For example, rock cut shrine, then terracotta. If you could not understand the meaning of terracotta, you will fail to analyze, you will fail to decode the term. The third thing is what? Copper artifacts. If you could not understand about what exactly the meaning of artifacts, archaeological is, the term is quite obvious. Architecture is also quite obvious. But so far artifacts is that what is that? There are certain confusion regarding that, what it should be. Is it should be the remains of archaeological, what we can say, findings like potteries, like the other fractured part over there. So here one thing is more I noticed to you. It has been in my notice also that the words, the jargon, the historical term, the archaeological terms, the children, or you can say the aspirants, could not able to decode it. That is the reason of major problem over there. Now come to the main point. Which of the pairs given above is or correct? So in this connection, what we find, you have given the analytical time, you have given the reasoning time. You can you can make it, you can say elimination, or what we can say adaptation or elimination and elimination. You could easily adopt that. So in this way, only one is correct. A is correct. Then what is that? The B, 1 and 2 is correct. You have given leverage. Then only 3, C and D, 2 and 3 is correct. So you have given time over there for think it out and eliminate the thing quite easily. And so far the recent year is concerned, what is considered the following pair? Simply what has been edited, what has been deleted. So here what is that? Historical plate and well-known place. It may be historical sites and then what we can say well-known shrines, and you can say the historical sites and the place of battle. Historical place, rock edicts, sites may be there. This question may be asked, this may be placed over there. And what has been done? So the next part is consider the following site and well-known. Again the term is a similar thing, site and well-known for. See, what are the modification? What are the changes? Could you say that? Is it change of pattern? Not at all. It is a simple thing, not at all. What variation has taken place on which created a sense of panic? So what is that? Besnagar, Shaivite cave shrine, then Bhaja, Buddhist cave shrine, then Sitawathal, Jain cave shrine. So what is that? These are the same tradition. Now the criticality is what? How many of the above pairs are correctly met? This is the trick of the traits of what? A statement. Here what is that? Which of the pairs given above are correctly matched? Here is what? The term, what is that? The term is what we can say pairs are correctly matched. This is the trick of the trait. Correctly matched. Here is what? Here is what? Given pairs. And here how many of above? The term is what? How many of above? Just mind it. And this created a sheer confusion among them. So my friend, my aspirant, I would say that it was not a change of pattern. It is just a matter of topsy-turvy, just a matter of art of asking the question, twist and turn. So you should have to be alert. And sometime you fell across, you lost some of the questions, you can say, to make it correctly due to your understanding a skill of language, your sharp understanding a skill of what question is going to be asked to you. So this was the problem at that side. So the second question also states about that too. The trend and pattern has not been changed. Only the trick, only the twist has been made over there. Is it clear to you? Now come to third question. It is the question I have taken. It is the period of 1998 and it is what? 2023. Just imagine about that. So it was far away. If we consider between the two, just what changes has been taken place, it was a period, an era of, just imagine about that too. It is a period of 20 years, on and around 20 years of difference. What is that? Here the language is written over there is what? Assertion. It is what? A and reason R. Let's just make it clear about that. What is the difference? What we find over here is that here the statement is 1. It is replaced by a statement 1 and it is replaced by a statement 2. Here is what? Assertion and reason. So assertion and reason is what? It is a more clarification. And here is what? A simple statement is given to you. Second trick of the trait regarding this one is what? Which of the following is correct respect to the above statement? Which of the following is correct in respect to the above statement? And here is what? Both AR means assertion and reasoning. It is only the variation of a statement. It is only the variation of what we can say words, sentences and formation. These are the matter of sentence making, or you can say utilizing or using jargons, using vocab. So what is that? Both A and R are true. Assertion and reasoning are true. And R is the correct explanation of the assertion. Here what is written? Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct. And statement 2 is the correct explanation for the statement. It is the same thing. Only it is replaced by A and R. Statement 1 and statement 2. Just imagine about that. Nothing has been changed. Nothing has been changed of any kind of pattern. Now the second thing, for making clarification. Both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of the assertion. Here is the same thing. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, and a statement is not the correct explanation of the statement. This is again the same pattern. And the fourth one is what? A is true, but R is false. Here is what? Statement 1 is correct, and but statement 2 is incorrect. It is same, only the word replaced by words. So only the change of words. Only the words statement is replaced by assertion. Very simple thing. And the last one, A is false, but R is true. Statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is correct. It is quite simple. So it can be justified quite easily that the things are quite same, no change of pattern. It is change of what we can say variation. It could not be said that it is change of pattern. So this way you should have to proceed. Now another example I am giving to you, considering the comparative study regarding this one. In 2020, 22 and 23, the reference of Indian history considered the following text. Niti Pakarna, then Panishavarna, then Adavaksha, then Trishlakra Mahapurana. These are the statement given over there. And which of the above Jain text? What is that? It is again easy to decode that in all the four followings, which one of the following is what? Jaina text. So the following are what? It is what we can say. Parshist Parvan. It is a very important part of. Then Adav Naksha. It is another part of that. So these are the answer regarding this one. If you compare it from the 2020-23 after recent time, what is the difference? A complete statement is given to you. It is what? It is a complete statement. Soul are not only the property of animal and plants life, but also to the rocks, running water, and many other natural objects not looked as a living being by the religious. The above statement reflects one of the core beliefs of which of the following religious sects of ancient India. So see the statement. So this is one of the statement that could be called as the stopper. That would call to the stopper. The above statement reflects one of the core belief in which one of the following religious sects in ancient India. What are the variation? Nothing variation, nothing changes, nothing change of pattern. And the answer should be what? Jainism. So this is the basic part of that. So this way it could be easily justified that the pattern has not been changed. There are certain amendments, there are certain modifications, there are certain twist and turn, and the twist and turn is the habit of UPSC examination. Here, my main purpose to delivering this lecture and eliminating the doubt, you will have to adopt certain strategy. I will talk about that too, and I will correlate with the micro syllabus level, the level of the syllabus. You can skip it out, because many more times people used to say that these are the certain topic or chapter. If you could read it out, then you can read it easily, and the answer could become from that part of that. Here I have considered certain syllabus is with you, and the micro syllabus is very important part from which we find that the question has been asked in a dominating way. For example, the history of the South, the history of the Sangam culture, the history of the date line. And date line is what? Calendar. It is also important part. So most of the thing which is not frequently read out by the students, here my suggestion would be, what is that? You won't have to skip any other syllabi, any other topics which is prescribed by UPSC, whether it is PT examination and whether it is main examination. A very simple brief information I am giving to you. It is not at all a complete bifurcation and micro syllabus, and some of the things I would discuss in the classroom, even though the micro things which is incorporated in the part of UPSC syllabi I will be discussing in the classes, or for that purpose the domain and dimension of the nature of the question, character of the question will be discussed. Here is very brief information regarding this one, is that the major topic is what? Post-Mauryan history, post-Mauryan empire. So I would like to make a very strong clarification regarding that, what strategy you could adopt over there. Considering the example, if you consider modern age, so in this modern age, it is quite clear that you should have to carry on the topic. It is what Chandragupta Maurya. And another one is Ashoka. These two personalities are quite important. You should have to read it out. These two personalities, they should not and they should never be missed out. So here I would like to make you what approach, strategy you would have to adopt for this part of that. If you talk about the approach, the approach should be multidimensional. Always keep in mind, the approach should be multidimensional. And one of the specific things, please note it down, is that if you are going to study about the ancient Indian history, I am putting down in the short, ancient Indian history, you should have to pay attention for culture. This is quite obvious. Culture is the dominating part of ancient Indian history. Only few personality you should have to follow. For what? Ancient Indian history: Chandragupta Maurya, Ashoka, Pushmitra Shunga, Gupta period. Gupta period is three personality. Majorly that is for the political administrative aspect. Chandragupta first, then Samudragupta, then Vikramaditya. You can say Chandragupta second. So some of the personality should incorporated in your study pattern is what politico-administrative system, and other section should dominated by whom? The cultural activity. So the major section that would cover from your side the strategy you are going to adopt, and more the thing I would like to discuss in the classroom is that, so what is that? Chandragupta Maurya, and then what we can say that apart from Chandragupta Maurya, the Ashokan age. And one of the important dynamics of UPSC has structured the syllabus is like that history is also reflecting to the present situation, and the present situation of political system, economic system, administrative system, and cultural system. I would give you the example regarding that. What is that? If you consider the modern history, Chandragupta Maurya, if you talk about Chandragupta Maurya, if you talk about Ashoka, so these two rulers has a certain tinge of politico-administrative ideology, and the political administrative ideology is still prevailing in our country, in the society. Even the government of India also follow this part of that. So what is the tinge of that? If you talk about Chandragupta Maurya's ideas were based on, it is based on what? It is based on enlightened despotism. If you could manage to understand about the meaning of this one is enlightened despotism, then you could manage to understand about the mindset of the modern period, and all the politico-administrative system is on this line. The second thing consider is that Ashoka. If you talk about Ashoka, his ideology and ideas of administrative system and contribution to the Indian political system is that, what is that? He has developed in the ideas of paternal despotism. It is what? It is paternal despotism. And paternal despotism is what? The king is like the father. And on the basis of paternal despotism, Ashoka has given the concept of welfareism, the concept of welfare state. And present time, if you correlate it, India is a welfare state. And the welfare state of India is totally different from the welfare state of the world. Why? Because this welfare state is based on the ideas of emotion. Emotions are there. So still in political administrative system, the tinge of emotions, the tinge of welfareism, we find out there. And perhaps Ashoka was identified the first environmentalist of the world due to his welfare activities among the animals, among the plants, among the flora, fauna. This understanding and multi-dynamic approach you should have to inculcate, you should have to develop. This is the dynamics of understanding of history from the UPSC point of view. And similarly, if you talk about enlightened despotism, means one person's enlightened ideas were there. And the first time the concept of statecraft, the constitutional framework is the present time. If you talk about the modern administration, it was Kautilya Arthashastra and it was called statecraft. Statecraft, and this came to prominence by this time. Your approach should be this way. And finally, what is that? You are going to appear for the civil services examination. If the question comes to you, when did India or which country in the world started the appointment of civil servant in India? So the contribution for the Indian context, it should go to Chandragupta Maurya, because the concept of bureaucracy evolved in India. And first time the competitive examination that was held is what it is called. It is called UPDHA. It is what we can say UPDHA. And the name first time Samaharta emerged during this period. And still the district magistrate of the you can say country is known as, collector is known as in Hindi, the term Samaharta is still prevailing over there. So this idea you should have to inculcate. Your approach should be multidimensional. And another important part is that bureaucracy came to prominence, and first time the paid salary staff were developed by this time. So the mechanism of administration, the mechanism of judiciary, and first time the currency that was PAN designated by this time, identified by this time. So this was the contribution of Chandragupta Maurya. And recently the controversy started regarding the lion and tiger. So the emblem of Ashoka was again what we can say lion, and still our Ashoka Stamp, or you can say lion capital, is a prominent part of that. And that has a connectivity with what Buddhism and Jainism also. So this way your approach should be there. Art, architecture, this way you should have to understand about that. So this approach you should have to develop. If you talk about Ashoka, Ashoka is always very much prominent in our, you can say, the tradition and culture at this time. If you see the currency, you would find it out, the Sanchiya Stupa over there. You can find it out, Ashokan pillar. So the culture is what? It is a part of life. It is a living system. We find out this way. Your approach should be, I mean, simply to a multi-dynamic approach. You have to keep in your mind. Now, I have cited certain example over there. In this example, another thing regarding this one, I could say easily, just a minute. So here I have break down certain micro level of syllabus that was missed out by the students, and sometime it is declared by the also faculty like that. This certain section should rate it out. The question comes from that. So my dear friend, aspirants, it is my gentle reminder and suggestion to you. You should have to go through each and every aspect, each and every topic, subtopics that is very much relevant to the situation and present time. Nobody can say that what should be the pattern, what should be the ideas of this time, what type of question is going to be asked. But you should have to understand about all the parameters in this way. So here is what Shunga dynasty, then Kanva's dynasty. These are the dynasty which came to prominence during this period. Kanva dynasty, Chedi dynasty, and Indo-Greeks, Bactrian. These contributions were very larger. Then Menander, then Hermitas. This is again Indo-Greek contribution. If you talk about that, the major contribution of these people. Why this topic is that they have given the concept of what? Coin. Coin making tradition started by the time of Indo-Greek during this period. Then Hermitas, last dynasty, then the Shaka, then the Indo-Scythian, Kushana, and Kushana contributions in our cultural history, political history, and architectural history is larger than life. You should have to understand about that. If you talk about the contribution of Kushana, I want to give the approach. What approach you should have to be. Kushana has given the contribution in our political system, our social life, social system, then architectural system, then science and technology, and then what we can say is sculpture. And even though literature. So this approach you should have to develop. If you talk about political system, if you find out, if you did your scant study, you won't find it out that what political contribution was given by the Kushana. You should have to keep in your mind. What is the major concept? In a very brief way, I'm discussing to you so that you can change your approach, you can change your dimension of reading and understanding the other part of that. Then if you talk about political system, they have given the concept of divine nature of kingship. Divine nature of kingship. They have given the concept of this one, divine nature of kingship. And in divine nature of kingship, another important significant thing we find over here is what? If you talk about divine nature of kingship, what does it mean? The king is the shadow of God, you can say one way, and the other way you can say the king is the representative of God. This way, Kushana organized to maintain the politico-administrative system. So this is one of the major political contribution. Then Kshatrap system, a bit you can say decentralization of system. Decentralization of system has also came to prominence by this time. So this way your approach should be there. And by this time, we find that the concept of, what? We find the concept of image worship. And what were the reasons behind that too? We find that in this image, we find that first time the tradition of idol making also came to prominence during the time of Kushana. Idol making thing was also came to prominence by the Kushana. And we find that idol making, the Gandhara school of art or Mathura school of art, we find that Buddha has been shown in a wavy hair. This we find over there. And Buddha was shown in a condition, in a mood of what? Meditate. Buddha was shown in a meditative mood. Buddha was shown in a, what we can say, meditative mood. We find there Kushana's contribution. And from here, Gandhara school of art, Mathura school of art, Amravati school of art also came to prominence by this time. This is the contribution of foreigners. Kushana was not at all an indigenous. So they were Central Asian tribes. And they contributed a lot of things in, you can say, the cultural history of India, the political history of India. And one of the significant things that is unnoticed many more times is what? Kushana's contribution to calendar, solar calendar. And from here, what we can say, Shak Samvat. And this Shak Samvat consists of what we can say 365 days. and the first month begins from Chaitra. Just imagine about that. And this calendar is adopted by the Constitution of India, and our political system, you can say sessions of the parliament, follow this calendar. This is the major contribution of Kushana. And another significant contribution is that Kushana contributed in the condition of what? Coin making. The perfect coin came to prominence. If the question comes to you, the perfect shape of coin came to prominence by which time? Which ruler? Your idea should be Kushan, and it was called dinar, denarius. So this approach you would have to develop. Without having multi-dimensional approach, you should have to decode that which chapter should come under which priorities way. Like very simple thing is that you used to wear your dress according to the climatic condition, according to the festive activities, according to the situation and all that. Similarly, all the topics, all the section of the history should have a study on a different domain. You have to keep in your mind that what are the intricacies and which is the major section which contributed to the system and society that is bigger part of that. So this question has been, you can say, the topic and syllabi has been designed and structured this way that is going to help you out. You can learn something from learning the history of the past. So your understanding and approach of history is what? How you can see your past, how you can see your past, how you can observe your present, and after keeping in that way, you can make your future plan also. So this approach you should have to keep in your mind. So this way you should have to proceed for what? For what? The topic of what? Ancient Indian history section. That should be the part of that. And similarly, what we can say that the other history section of history, for example, if you consider medieval history, in medieval history, the micro level segregation is what? The rise of Rajput kingdoms. You can't skip it out. Then Gujra Pratihara, Pal Pratihar, Rajput battle was also very much famous to them. Tripartite struggle for the Bengal, you can say Kannauj, then Pala of Bengal. All of them contributed for making the historical aspect and cultural aspect very strong. Then the rise of the Tomars, then Chachmana and Chauhana, Garhwala, Kannauj, Chandela of Bundelkhand. You can't skip it. Chalukya, Parmara kingdom, Karkota dynasty of Kashmir. You should have to. Then what we can say, Yashka Hindu, the Hindu Shahiya Kabul Shahiya dynasty you should have to read, because more or less they contributed for making the history of India. So this way the micro syllabus would be covered while conducting the classes to you. You can't skip it out. You can't, there is not at all a shortcut way to achieve success in this way. And so far UPSC is concerned, UPSC is very much particular designing, corroborating these kind of activities. Now come to the point of what? Micro syllabus of what? Micro syllabus of modern Indian history. Micro syllabus of modern Indian history. So in modern Indian history, what is significant and what is important part? The period of a section I am picking up is what? From the era of 1757 to 1857. This period, this era, you can't miss it out. So this is the 100 years of history. In this 100 years of history, a lot of political development, a lot of social development, a lot of administrative development, a lot of cultural development, a lot of movement has been taken place. You can't skip it out. In this connection, the very important part you should have to read it out to the peasant movement. The peasant movement, then tribal movement, then socio-religious movement, and this movement segregated under revivalist and reformist movement. This is the micro part of syllabus. You should have to go through this part. You can't skip out another part of that. And another significant thing that is quite important in this connection is what? The period between 1853 to 1858. Why 1853 is very much important? By this time, 1854 education system. Another one is what? Railway line. Then post and telegraph all came to prominence. And this is a major era of transformation. And you should have to alert that the era of transformation, it is what? 1857 revolt. It was the beginning of imperialism. So anti-imperialist struggle started by this time. So this way you have to develop your approach. Okay, I think that you must have enjoyed the classes. So whatever the doubts it is creeping to your mind, I think it may be eliminated too. But my major suggestion to you people, those who are watching and those who are the candidate of this Dikshant platform, my suggestion is that one of the suggestion, and many of the candidates may face casualty. 3 reasons are there. The reason number first, you have short of, or you can say you have lack of understanding of terminology, and you can say vocab capacity. Due to non-efficacy of this part, you would have failed to diagnose or decode the proper term. For example, the term appears repository in this question of 2023. In Buddhism, this term has been asked repository. The another term which was asked over here is that the term is what? Votive. And another term that was asked here, I note it down to, the term is also relic. And another term that is what we can say commemorate. Another term appear is what? That is what we can say deification. Most of the candidates fail to decode the term. So this way it is also a major part. If you talk about repository, what does it mean? It is what we can say storehouse. Storehouse you can say. Then you talk about votive. What is that? This votive term is associated what we can say. It is what you can say your wish, your expression. This is what votive. If you talk about commemorative, means celebration, and you can say remembering the part of that. Another important thing is what? Offshoot. Offshoot is what? The byproduct, you can say offshoot. So my dear friend or the aspirants, it is my strong suggestion to you. You have to develop your jargon. You have to develop your vocabulary. Due to jargon, vocab, 3 things are there. 3 things are there. It is quite simple thing. What are the things? What are the 3 things? One is usage. Second one is what? Vocab. And the third one is what? It is jargon. Three things you have to build up. Usage is what? The proper words should be used with the proper situation, proper condition. Citing an example to you. For example, the term is what? Assassination. Assassination. Assassination means murder. But it is not a simple murder. Any murder that has taken place with the political reason, any political murder which has taken place, the jargon should be, the usage should be, what is that? It is assassination. Similarly, jargon is there. Jargon is what? Like the jargon is what? Imperialism, capitalism, finance capital phase, Bullianism. All these terms are what? Jargon. So you have to be very much familiar with this part of that. And there are certain words, the usage should be very critical part of that. So what I analyzed in the recent days of your PT examination, and this has a very strong repercussion on your CSAT pattern also. In CSAT, the majority of students or aspirants did not perform well. The reasons behind that, they did not able to decode the question properly, what questions are going to be asked. So decoding the question, that is one of the challenges before you. And I promise you, from the platform of Dikshant, in a fortnight, I would like to discuss, I would like to develop these pattern of things. This would help you writing, reading, understanding, and developing good expression to you. I think so. Most of the things you have learned before this lecture-wise things too, and the discussions what I discussed to you in this way. And I hope so. The strategy you should have to adopt, it should be very much clear part of that. First and the foremost point is that you can't escape it, any other topic, any other chapter. Your thinking should be, what is that? Critical. You should have to be all the time critical, and all the time you have to keep in your mind. I would like to give you a simple formula to 4C concept. 4C concept. Please note it down, the 4C concept. If you could manage it easily, then I think so, you could do better in your life. C is what? The first C is based on facts. So without facts, nothing can appear before you. Anything, if you are watching, if you are seeing, it is tangible, you are touching, that is fact. And for every fact, there are certain concepts. So this is number one. And for C is what? For every fact, there are certain concepts. And every concept has a connectivity. Every fact has a connectivity. And another important part is that every connectivity has a connective part of what? Contemporary. And UPSC never asks the question which has no relevance with the time. You could see the example, the question of Khadi, which appeared before that too, and the Swaraj movement is connected with that too. All are based on the ideas of 4C concept. The first concept is fact. Whatever you see, whatever is fact, whatever you see, whatever you watch, whatever you are reading, that is connected with fact. And if you find it out any fact, you try to understand about what is the concept. For example, the question has been asked in Indian history, a stupa. A stupa is a fact. So what is the concept behind the stupa? And what are the contemporary stupas? So many stupas are there. Sanchi stupa is also there. Then Bharuta stupa is also there. So what is the, you can say, and the contemporary part is that what? Why a stupa's emblem has been embedded and has been, you can say, produced in 2000 notes, or you can say different type of currency. It has certain figures. If you talk about lotus, a simple example I am giving to you. If you talk about lotus, so what is its significance of lotus? it has a religious significance. Before Buddha conceived by Gautami, he dreamed that the lotus is given by the elephant. Lotus is our national emblem. Just imagine about that. And lotus is present time the political party, majority political party in power. So what is that? Lotus is what? This is the fact. It has a concept of Buddhism, our culture, and this is what connectivity is. What our you can say national the major party which is in power, that has a significant remark of what? Lotus. And lotus is also what? Our national emblem, or you can say national flower, not emblem, I beg a pardon. Okay, I think so. This approach you should have to develop, and I am always with you, forever for you. Whatever the problem you cited, I am ready to solve it. Whatever my little knowledge is there, I will also educate you, mentor you, teach you. Thank you very much for patiently listening to me. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you.